Intended to demonstrate some of the functionality that we've now implemented to work in tandem with AccountMate. So what I have on the screen, just to demonstrate what it is that I'm going to be using, is on the left I have a series of pictures of Bluetooth socket scanners. The one I'm using is similar to any of the ones on top. It has a strap that allows me to keep it around my head, around my neck, so that it makes it easier to carry around when I'm using it with my iPhone or my iPad. And then what I have on the right is actually my iPhone, so I'm going to go ahead and load up the Basis application on my iPhone. And I'm going to log in. Now my keyboard is controlled by my scanner because it's a Bluetooth scanner that takes over the control. So I select the warehouse that I'm logging in, and now I'm ready to start operations. So the first thing I'm going to demonstrate is the functionality on doing an inventory count. So I'm going to minimize this here. Basically, the process of doing an inventory count with AccountMate using Basis is we're using some of the functionality that's already built into AccountMate. We don't need to reinvent the wheel. So we're going to use the inventory control physical count freeze inventory transaction, and it doesn't matter if we freeze everything or if we just freeze a selected range of items. Basically, the process of freezing the item will allow us to have all the information automatically sent to Basis so that now it can be counted. So in the Basis program, which I will show in a minute, we also get all the information, so we now can connect with the iPhone or the iPad, any iOS device, and start counting. It also works with Windows mobile device, but we find the iPhone and iPads a lot friendlier and a lot cheaper. We usually recommend to use them with a very strong Auto case or Griffin case, which makes it 6-foot drop to concrete, similar to some of the better Datamax and Motorola devices. So let me go ahead and do my inventory count. So I just go to inventory count. So there's a few options here. I can go to my settings. I make sure that I have the sound activated. I have options whether I want to automatically fill the locations if I only have one location per item. And I also have the option to automatically add items to the count. So I'm going to start with that. So when I turn on the auto Bluetooth now, I can start scanning items. And as I add items to my screen, it automatically gets populated onto my item. And if I find an item that's lot number, then the system will prompt me and will force me to enter a lot number here before I actually enter the quantity. So when I do that, it doesn't add it automatically. I have to go ahead, put in my quantity, and accept it onto my accounts. If the item is not lot number, then I have the option to just go ahead and scan, which is what I'm doing now. So it's a very simple process that just allows you very easily to add items. Now what I didn't do, but I should have done obviously, is the first thing that I would do is that I would scan the location, or I would enter the location, and then once I have the location, I go ahead and scan the item. The other thing that I can do is I can turn off my automation. Let me put the location here. So when I put in a location, I can go ahead now and scan my items. And because I had turned off automation, it's now prompting me to add the item. I'm going to turn it back on, and every item that I will scan from now on will be automatically assigned to that location. So at any time as I'm scanning item, I hear a very distinct sound which you can't hear on the video, but on the phone you do. I can also go and review what I have scanned. If I make a mistake or if I want to correct something, I just have to swipe over to the left and save it. And then when I'm done, all I have to do is go ahead and hit send on the top to send it to my server. So I can have as many users as I want doing that count. So once I've done that count, then I'm able to review it directly from the Basis desktop. So that's what I'm bringing on the screen here. So this gets updated live as I'm doing my count. So these are some of the items that I've counted so far. So it's going to show me what was part of my freeze inventory process when I created my freeze inventory. It's going to show me the locations that I've scanned it in. It's going to show me if the item is lot number. It'll show me not only the location, but the lot numbers and the expiry dates that I would have entered directly when I did my scan. And we go through the process like this until we're completely done and we finish everything. So the last time, from here, we can verify our scanned items. We can verify discrepancy with serial and lot numbers. We can verify what hasn't been scanned based on the image or the freeze that we did. So there's a lot of tools that allow me here to manage how my inventory is performing. And this is actually live information, so as I'm going through the system, this information gets updated. Doesn't matter how many counter I have, all the information will get updated here in real time, so that somebody, without having to go to AccountMate, is able to review within that screen here everything that you have. There's a lot of filters and searches and things that allow you to do different functions while you're here. And the whole idea is to make it easier and powerful for the users that are using the system to just go ahead and review everything before they send everything to AccountMate. Let's say this was my whole inventory. The last thing that I have to do is just click this button here that says export to AccountMate. And what it'll actually do is it'll actually create the text file that AccountMate requires to bring in the inventory based on what we've counted. So once I export this file, it'll generate a file with all the transactions that have been scanned. There'll be a record in each of the transactions. I won't bore you with the details, but the bottom line is that now all I have to do to actually finish my inventory is I would go into AccountMate, go to my warehouse inventory transfer, and from here I would be able to just go here to my physical count and just bring back my count that I've done already. So I would just have to pick the file and click on import, and then I would see everything that I've counted with the locations, with the lot numbers and everything. I would see if there was any invalid data, and I would be able to see all the valid data. And then once I save this information, what it will do, it will just update the inventory count files in AccountMate, and then the final step would be to just update the physical count to complete the process. So basically we're using all the features that are already existing in AccountMate. We don't need to reinvent the wheel, but then we're actually giving the facility of the count itself to be performed using the iPads, the iPhones, as many people as possible, using the barcode scanner that I pointed out before. And just makes the whole process a lot easier, a lot friendlier, and a lot faster. The next set of functions that I would like to review is the different functionality we have in terms of locating inventory, transferring it, locating it, doing warehouse transfer, bin transfers, etc. So first, again, I'm going to go back to my iOS device, and the first thing we do is we have a lookup function. So if I go and do a lookup, I can do a lookup, for example, where I can just scan an item, and it'll make a call and show me everything that I have, not only which warehouse, but also the different quantity and the different locations. So this is very useful if we're looking for items for various bins. We also have a location lookup where I can basically enter a location and see everything that's available. We also have a price lookup. So if I'm looking for an item that, if I'm in a retail environment, I can very quickly see not only how many I have on hand, but what the price is. If I can also drill down for all the locations through the other functions. So that's just lookup function. Those lookup functions are also available when we're doing any transfers or when we're doing any receiving or shipping. The next set of functionality that is very powerful is a location transfer. We have many different options. We can actually create full transfers. So if we're transferring full truckload, we create full transfers just like we have here, from and to. And what that does is that allows us to create a collection of items that can be picked up somewhere and then drop off. What I'm going to do right now is just a quick transfer, which is a very popular function, just a very easy way to transfer item from one bin to another. So we can either do a collection of items, as I said, if we're sending a full truckload, or if we're just moving one item or two items at a time, we'll do what we call a quick transfer. You can transfer a whole skid or just a regular where we just transfer items. I'm just going to pick that option here. So here it's prompting me to scan the item number. As soon as I scan the item number, it's going to show me all the bins that are available for that item. So if I want to transfer from, let's say, from A1 to A2, I just pick the one that I want to transfer from, and by default it's going to put the full quantity that's in that location, but I can change it. And as soon as I accept this transfer, Now it's asking me where is it that I'm putting it. So that same functionality I can use for a warehouse transfer, where I can just select a different warehouse here, or I can just pick a different location. And here again, it's prompting me to put the full quantity. I don't have to put the full quantity. I can just do multiple. So because I did the first 20, now I have 3 left, and I'm going to put those in a different location. Once I've consumed all the items that were to be transferred, it's now updated, and my quantity is 0. So my button here changes to send. So now I can just send this to the server, and that transfer is actually complete. So it's actually complete, but it's not in AccountMate yet. It's sitting in Basis. So I'm going to show you where we review it in Basis, and I'm going to show you how we bring it into AccountMate. So again, this is just a way for a very quick way of transferring. So in Basis, if we want to review the transfers, we have a location transfer screen that gives us a very clear indication of where everything else. This is actually live. This data gets updated every time we do a transfer. We also have an audit trail of every time this item was received or shipped or transferred. Gives us a complete view of every single scan that's been done through day one. And because it's also sitting in the SQL database, it's completely reportable, it's auditable. We can go back and view the full life and motion of different items. We can do reports such as the efficiency as to how quickly we can ship orders. All the information is actually date stamped to the minute and kept for every single scan that we do from the moment the product comes through the door till it leaves the building. So it's a very powerful way of having a lot of information. That information right now is just resident and just allows you to view all the Basis tables. How it actually would be processed is a little bit simpler than that. What we do is we go back into AccountMate, into the inventory control module, and we can just go through. And for example, if we want to see all the transfers that were done for the main warehouse, we just click a new button here that gets created when you install Basis. And what that does is that will populate all the various movement transactions that have been made using the iPads. So for every single item that you've moved from one bin to another, you'll just get a full report in it here, and all you'll need to do is just click Save to process these transactions. The same process is actually when we do a warehouse inventory transfer. Same idea here. Here we just need to pick the source and the target warehouse. And again, here we click on Get Data. So this will show you all the data that was actually scanned in a specific transfer. And if it can be multiple user, multiple transfers. Whenever we bring them in here, they'll all be processed. And again, to complete it, all we have to do is just hit the Save button. So the bin inventory transfer is very powerful in AccountMate. And what Basis does is it mimics everything that AccountMate does. Again, just gives you the ability to have devices that allow you to scan it. And as I said before, we can use mini iPads with a Bluetooth barcode scanner. We can use Window Mobile. It doesn't really matter what the device is. The whole idea is to capture the information, send it back to Basis. As soon as it gets sent to Basis, then it becomes available for AccountMate to be pulled in. And so that concludes the transfer function. The next section will talk about how we do orders shipping and PO receiving. Now I would like to demonstrate how we ship order and how we receive purchase orders. So first I just want to point out that an order and a purchase order have been created. So I'll just quickly show them to you here so you see the one that were created. So this is a sales order, and it has 4 line items. And then we similarly we have a purchase order that was also created. I won't bother you with that. So what I want to illustrate is, first of all, is as soon as a sales order or purchase order is created in AccountMate, what happens is that it automatically gets sent to the Basis databases. So I'm just going to show you what it looks like in Basis. This is not necessarily, you don't have to go and look at those orders, but they're sitting there because it's basically a view to the database. So here what I have is all the orders that are sitting in AccountMate. They would also show up in Basis, and there is a dashboard that basically illustrates the orders. The ones that are in green have been processed. The ones that are in pink are being processed. Once they get exported to AccountMate, they will be deleted from here. These are just orders that are sitting there. So this one is the one that we were just looking at, order number 1058. And right now it shows us quantities haven't been shipped yet. So we're going to go ahead and ship it, and then we will come back here and see what it looks like. And similarly, we have a purchase order. Same idea here. Once a purchase order gets created into AccountMate, it automatically triggers a store procedure that sends it to Basis. So this is a purchase order. Basically shows me all the items that are in the purchase order, and I'm ready to now go and scan them. So now we're going to go on to the scanner. So I'm back onto my device. So now I want to go ahead and receive my purchase order and ship my order. So let's go to the purchase order first. So I tap on the purchase order function here, and I scan the PO, and I scan the PO number or enter it in, and that brings it onto the device so I can see it here. And all I have to do to go into it is just tap on the PO number. I can have multiple PO that I'm working on, and that's why we need to have a list. So these are all the items, and it's displayed where I see the sequence number, the part number, the name, the warehouse, or quantity. So I'm not really crazy about how it displays. I'd like to see the quantity first. So I'm just going to go and edit my columns here, and I'm just going to put my quantity on top. I don't really need my sequence, so I'm going to take it off. The part number I'd like to see in the name, and that's it. And actually I want to see before the warehouse, because I know my warehouse. So now I go back into my order, and now I can see my quantity first, my part number, and my name. I'm happy with that. So I'm going to go ahead and start scanning the items as they come in. So the first thing I do is when I scan an item, what it does is it shows me the item, it shows me the quantity, and as I'm receiving it, I need to enter the location that I'm going to be receiving at. But if I want to know where I have similar location, I can just click on check location, and what I'll do is it'll show me all the different locations where this item is located. So as I'm receiving it, let's say I decide to put it in this location here. Now it's automatically going to add those items into that location, and all I need to do now is add the quantity that I'm receiving. And I add this item. So because I've added the full quantity here, it actually showed me, it actually went through and turned it green. I'm going to receive another item here. So here we want 6, but I only have 5. I didn't receive my full quantity. And again, I need to enter my location. So again, I'm going to just check to see where the other items are. And now I'm ready to accept that item into that location. So I'm just going to hit accept. So in this case here, because this item is not fully shipped, it's yellow. So the whole idea is to go through the order and just to make sure that we not only enter the location, but we put in the quantity that we receive, and we just accept it. The other thing that we can do is we can actually scan the item so that it automatically gets added to the order. So I'm going to just turn on this setting here that allows me to scan the item. It's called auto accept. And here I can just go ahead and start scanning the item, and as I'm adding the item, you'll automatically assign it to that order, and as much as it gets incremented, I can see this the count at the top. I need 6 of this, so right now I have 4, so it stays in yellow. When I'm completed and entered all my quantities, it'll basically turn green. So it's a very simple process, just allows me to go through the order and complete it. So I've gone through, and in save some time, I've just went through and received the rest of the item. So now all I need to do is just go through and sync it back to the server so that it gets sent, and now it's ready to be viewed on the server and then brought back into AccountMate. Then I'm going to do exactly the same thing on my sales order. Sales order, exactly the same process. I scan the sales order number. Again, I'm going to rearrange my columns. This is a one-time thing. Once you've done it, it actually will stay. So I'm just going to put my quantity first, my part number, and then my location. So I see how many I need. I know where it is. I know what my part number is. So again, I'm going to go ahead and I can select from the list the item and enter the quantity and just accept it. Now in this case, the location was pre-assigned as A1, so that's fine. I'm going to leave it at that. For the next item, I want 2 of them, but I don't want them from A1 because I'm working through the warehouse and I realize that I have a better location for it. So again, I can just do a check. And in this case, I see that I have 5 in location A2. So again, I just accept it onto that location. And same idea, the order goes green. And keep going, this exactly the same thing. I can actually pick items from different location, and it'll put them on the, let's say for example here I have A1, I'm only going to put 4 from A1, and then the last one I'm actually going to grab it from a different location. So same idea here, I went through and I received everything, and then I'm done. All I have to do is just go to tools and sync my order back to the server. So again, it's done here. I get my success information. My orders are no longer on my scanner, and we're going to stop this recording right now. Then we'll go back to the desktop so we can see not only how it looks back on the basis dashboard, but then how we bring them back into AccountMate. We're back on the desktop here, and what we want to illustrate is the order and the PO that was just scanned. So if I go into the basis desktop, again it's just a dashboard, I don't have to go there, I can just go in it to view what's sent. So I just selected the option to show the completed orders, and this is the order that I have scanned. So because I've scanned it now, it's all green, and all the quantities are green as well to show that they've all been shipped. I also have the ability to drill down and find out exactly who shipped it, when, what the locations were, if there is serial or lot numbers. I'm able to see every single scan is actually always kept. So we have the ability to view everything for the sales orders. And then on the purchase order, it's exactly the same thing. Again, I'm going to select the option to just show the purchase order. And here I can see everything that was received. I can check every single scan, what time it was scanned, by who. So I have full traceability. Again, this is just for a dashboard of seeing what's going on. The final step is to actually go into AccountMate, and then just, for example, for the case of the sales order, all I'm going to do is just going to go ahead and ship it. So I'm going to pick the selected order, and if I go to line items, I can see here what the different bins that were pre-allocated. But when I click on ship get quantity, what it does is it actually goes into AccountMate. It goes into basis, grabs the quantity that were scanned, and then assigns them to the proper bins. So in this case here, I had short shipped one of the order, so it's actually pulling it here and showing me that what was actually shipped, and all I have to do is save to complete this transaction, and then the process takes over from there. Exactly the same process on the purchase order side. So I go into my purchase order, transaction, receive good, pick the purchase order that I've just scanned, and then here it's showing all the bins as A1, but I didn't receive them all from A1, I changed them. So by clicking on get received quantity, it don't only adjusts the quantity that I've received, but it also adjusts the bins that were scanned while we were doing it on the scanner. And if you remember this one, we had short received, so only got 5. Again, it's going to reflect what it is that I've done on the scanner, and same idea here, I just save it to complete the process. So that basically completes the functionality. This is what's going to be released on March 1st. This is phase 1. The next phase will have lot numbers as well as everything else that I've just showed you. The phase after that will also support serial numbers, and then the final release will have also the special codes as well, such as the color, the size, and the color. So the first release is just for the items that don't have lot numbers or serial numbers or special codes. And everything that you see will be released as part of the first release. Thank you.